Hello, my friends. Unfortunately, we've got more bad news from the front overnight. The Russians continue to advance, and for the fourth day in a row now, this situation has been shifting in their favor. Let's start with the Toretsk direction. Here, Russian forces are moving fast around Toretsk and Dnipropetrovsk. This region hasn't changed today, although they had some gains there just a few days ago. But now we are hearing that they are pushing forward from Alexandropol toward the village of Zorya. Just a reminder, yesterday they advanced 5 kilometers 200 meters past Novolenivka and another kilometer near Alexandropol. And late last night, reports came in that the Russian troops started breaking through toward Zorya, not from the east, but from the west. If you check the geolocation map, it clearly shows how much changed overnight. The Russians broke through along the road leading to Zarya. The Ukrainian forces showed footage of the assaults taking place there, and it wasn't just an armored column. We are talking about infantry that had already captured some positions. That's why the situation here is catastrophic. It's looking like an encirclement is forming. You can see clearly that the Russians are attacking from two directions and they're succeeding. So we might be looking at a major collapse of the front here very soon. The Ukrainian forces may have to withdraw from a large section of the front line. Now, let's talk about the Pokrovsk direction. The situation there is also very difficult. The Russians have made gains in several directions, taken control of multiple settlements, and all of this has happened just in the past week. Even the Ukrainian side has confirmed Russia's claim that they've captured Myroliubivka. After securing Myroliubivka, the Russians immediately launched an assault on the neighboring village of Myroliubivka. On the map, it's just a tiny spot westward past a small patch of forest. The Russians dug in there as well, and our guys hit back hard. 8 Russian soldiers were confirmed killed. And the Russians also launched an offensive from the western part of Malinivka toward the nearby settlement of Myrne. There is active fighting going on the approaches right now. So, according to Ukrainian soldier, Russian troops are now right up close to Novoekonomichne, and that, friends, is a complete breakdown of the defensive line. If they captured a village yesterday and are already attacking the next one today, that means they didn't need to burn through many resources for the capture, and they clearly still have plenty of strength left for further assaults. Meanwhile, after taking Novoalexandrivka, Russian forces are now attacking Novosergiyevka and Udachne. From there, it's just 3 kilometers 100 meters to the Dnipropetrovsk region border. They've also recaptured Kotline, Zvirova, and have pushed up through the fields right to the edge of Pokrovsk. So we can now expect regular assaults on Pokrovsk itself. At the same time, the battles for Dachinsk, Lysivka, the village of Promeny are still ongoing. Russian forces are pushing through the fields past Malinivka toward Novoekonomichne. Fighting is also ongoing near Nova Poltavka. The village has mostly fallen, but some resistance remains. Ukrainian forces are trying to hold them back, and reports confirm active clashes in the area. In the Kurakhove direction, it was confirmed yesterday that Russian forces have captured Kotliarivka. Attacks are now being reported on the nearby village of Muravka. The Russians have also advanced toward Troitsk and reached the outskirts of the village. In addition, they managed to capture half of the village of Bohatyr, and assaults there are still ongoing. Oleksiivka is also under heavy fire today. The Russians are actively storming the village and carrying out a large number of shelling. If they succeed in taking these two additional villages, they'll have a nearly direct route to the Dnipropetrovsk region. As we can see, in several directions, the Russians are reaching their objectives and pushing toward the border of the Donetsk region. In the Velika Novosilka direction, the Russians have made significant progress through the fields. Today they continue trying to break through near Dniproenergia and are assaulting the villages of Shevchenko, Vilne Pole, Zelene Pole, and Novopil. They're also carrying out artillery strikes in the area. It's clear the front is starting to shift here as well, but for now, Ukrainian forces are still holding the line in the settlements. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, assaults on Malatokmachka are ongoing, and Russian forces are attempting to break through toward Novodanilivka. They are also attacking Stepove and shelling the frontline areas. There were no changes over the past 24 hours, but activity in this sector is not the highest. In the Kherson direction, the Russians continue pushing onto the islands and shelling the right bank of the Dnipro River. However, yesterday there were reports of a large fire near Oleshke. No details have been shared, but it appears the Ukrainian forces successfully weakened the Russian forces in the area. Now let's move to the Chasiv Yar area. Fighting continues in the central part of the city, and Russian forces are pushing toward Bila Hora. However, there have been no changes over the past 24 hours, and for now, the Ukrainian forces are successfully repelling all attacks. In the Siversk direction, the Russians are attempting to break through near the village of Grigorivka. While no new attacks have been recorded near Verkhnyokamynsk, the Russians have practically taken full control of the village and are now trying to establish a foothold there. In the Liman direction, Russian forces continue the assaults on the villages of Kolodyazi, Zelena Dolina, Lipove, Rідкодуб, Новий Мир, and Olgivka. They're also pushing from Grekivka toward Druželiubivka, but despite heavy activity, Ukrainian forces have managed to hold the line and there have been no changes to the front. In the Borova direction, the Russians are assaulting Boguslavka, Novosergiyevka and Novoyegorivka, but no territorial changes have occurred over the past 24 hours and all attacks have been successfully repelled. In the Kupiansk direction, shelling continues, but no new assaults have been launched by the Russians and the situation remains unchanged for now. In the Dvorichna direction, Russian forces are assaulting the village of Topole. And as can be seen, they've managed to push through almost the entire front line past the water barrier. So their gains here are quite significant despite the lack of constant assaults. Only occasional attacks were carried out, yet they've achieved success. In the Kharkiv direction, Russian forces haven't launched any new assaults, and shelling continues at a minimal level. However, fighting for Vovchansk hasn't stopped, though the front line there remains unchanged. In the Sumy and Kursk directions, the Russians continue launching attacks, but the front line remains stable for now. The Russians still can't fully secure their side of the border, and in the Sumy region, they've made no major advances. However, shelling continues, and new strikes on the city of Sumy were reported yesterday. In the Tyotkina area, there have been no reports of new attacks, but Russian forces continue shelling border settlements. Today, there is increasing evidence that Russia's drone capabilities are rapidly growing, making the situation at the front more difficult. As much as we don't want to admit it, the Russians have made significant progress in drone warfare. What used to be a few units is now a large scale operation. Our sensors are picking up massive numbers of drones in the air. In the past, we used to laugh when tapping into Russian video feeds showing their drones flying erratically for just a few kilometers. Now, systematic drone missions penetrating 10, 15 kilometers into our lines have become the norm. And we are not talking about a few isolated incidents, these are swarms. Another issue is electronic warfare. Russian electronic warfare systems have become much more disruptive. The good news is they can be countered, but it requires engineering teams and R&D units to overcome their jamming, which blocks our video signals. That takes time, experimentation, procurement, engineering, and soldering. Yelling and commands don't help. We once celebrated the drone revolution when our drones burned Russian tanks, infantry, and equipment. But now, unfortunately, we see more and more videos of our own losses. The number of Russian drones has grown, probably hundreds of times more than last year. So the key battle now is technological. It's no longer enough to just have a drone. It must be built by engineers who made it resistant to electronic warfare. At the same time, we need electronic warfare that can neutralize the Russian tech. These are daily complex chess matches, and the side with a better organization will win. This is backed by a flood of videos on geolocation maps showing Russian FPV drones destroying Ukrainian vehicles and positions. The trend will only worsen. Even if Ukraine ramps up production, Russia is increasing theirs too. Now, to the negotiation situation, the Kremlin has confirmed its delegation for upcoming talks, but neither Lavrov nor Ushakov is on the list, despite earlier speculation. The US will be presented by Witkov and Rubio, but Putin reportedly won't attend. President Zelensky commented on the situation.
While the whole world is waiting for a simple yes from Putin on direct peace talks, he keeps bombing Ukraine. There's no military sense in this, it brings him nothing and won't bring him anything. Russia is just dragging out the war and the killings. Every country, every leader pressuring Russia for a ceasefire and meaningful talks is helping peace and diplomacy, and I thank them. Today, there were important statements from Pope Leo XIV about the Vatican's readiness to mediate. The Vatican can help diplomacy. We also have support for a direct meeting from leaders of the Global South. We know China's position for a ceasefire and negotiations. The US and Europe are absolutely clear too. Right now, it's more obvious than ever since the start of the full-scale war. The only barrier to peace is Russia's lack of real intent to end it. We've held several meetings with our team regarding the format in Turkey. I'm waiting to see who exactly Russia sends before deciding what steps Ukraine should take. Their media signals are unconvincing, but we're also hearing that President Trump may attend the talks in Turkey, which could become a very strong argument. This week could really change a lot. It might.
And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.